I welcome you for this discussion on creating a simple VBA procedure for Microsoft Excel. Before we create any procedure, whether it is a VBA procedure or it is a functional procedure, as far as Microsoft Excel is concerned, the first step is we need to enable the developer menu. The developer menu has to appear at the top of the menus in the Excel screen. If it has not been enabled, you can do so now by going to File, and then Options, and then Customize ribbon, and then at the right side panel, see main under main tabs, you can see the developer. Just for the purpose of illustration, let me uncheck it and then check it. So you have to check this developer and then say OK. Now the developer menu would appear. After this, now we can start writing the VBA procedure. In our case, for the purpose of illustration, I have taken data from cell A2 to cell A1000, as you can see at the bottom. Okay, it goes up to A1000. Okay. Now, to start writing the procedure, go to the developer menu, which we already got enabled, as you can see at the top of the menus. Then click on this Visual Basic. Now the screen appears. This is where we write the code. Since I already created the codes, let me just explain each of the line and also the background for that. A normal VBA procedure will start with a keyword called sub stands for subroutine, and then give a name for the subroutine. In this case, I have given any name of your choice, but there should not be any commas and all. There should not be any spaces. So here I have given add comma, then the bracket opening and closing. Once you type this, let me say for example, I'll just type as a redundant measure. I'm just showing it here. Let's say sub example. Sorry, sub example. Okay, the bottom line by default appears, which is end sub. So between these sub and end sub only we need to write the codes. Now, before we proceed to instruct the VBA as to what we need to do, we first need to define the area where the data is available. So let us move in a hierarchical top-down manner. We first need to specify the workbook in which the data is available, which in my case I have given a name called MGT INSTNS1. One important thing we have to note here is that an Excel workbook which has to have macros or VBA procedures enabled, you need to save the workbook with an extension called XLSM. Okay, so you need to give the extension XLSM. Then we have to give two more keywords, namely workbooks and activate. Within the two keywords, we need to write the name of the workbook, including the extension in inverted commas, and then followed by a period, and then activate. Now we have specified where the data, the name of the workbook where the data is available. Then we need to specify the worksheet where the data is available. In this case, the data is available in sheet 4. It could be any other normal name also. So here again, we have to give two keywords, namely worksheets, and then we are saying to select because the workbook has got many sheets. I'm specifying which particular sheet we need to go in for to obtain the data. Then, so from workbook, we have come down to worksheet, and then we have to specifically mention the area, the specific range, we call it, where the data is available, and that is being specified like this. First keyword is active sheet. Active sheet refers to the default sheet which we have already referred to in the previous line, namely here it is sheet 4. So, in that, what is the range? In that particular sheet, what is the range? So, here the range is from cell A2 to A1000. So, there are around 1000 names which are appearing in this particular range. So, here again, we need to select the specific range, and you also see the period which appears after the brackets. So we have specified the workbook name which has been activated. We have specified the worksheet name which has been selected, and out of the worksheet which range we have to specifically to go to. Now having done so, now what do we need to do with the data? Sorry. What do we need to do with the data? Here, so in order and maybe the data is available in 1000 rows, whether I need to do the operation with the entire 1000 rows or specific range. I want to do the operation over the entire range of the data here. So I'm specifying because I want to do it for each of the rows because I want to assign comma. I want to assign comma at the end of the values which appears in each of the rows, namely from A2 to A1000. So I'm specifying for each row for each of the rows which appears from A2 up to A1000. And there are the keywords here is that these two active sheet dot range keyword you already know. There are a few more keywords. One is for each row because we want to do it for each row in simple English for each row in active sheet dot range, and then here another keyword which is rows. So for each row, once you type this, I'll show you. Once you type this, let me explain to illustrate. Once you type that, what happens here? After that, what you do then, you also type the next row. This is a set of pair of lines which have to appear. So whenever you do for each row, then also type the next row, leaving some space because the instructions we are going to give between these two lines. Okay, the first instruction is what between any row in any row which falls between these two ranges, I mean from and up to the last row, you select the row. First one is select. We are going to select the row. So we are saying row dot select. This is again a keyword. Don't put select row. The keyword has to come in this order. Row dot select. After that, what we do is that here we need to apply some innovative uh, thinking. How do we do is that we take the value in each of the rows and then store in a memory variable. Memory variable, as you might be knowing, it is basically a container for storing the value for a temporary period of time. And once that the purpose is accomplished, then the container is released. The memory variable is released. So for the time being, in order to do some operation, we are since having selected the row, now the value which is there in that row is being assigned to a memory variable. And this could be anywhere, any name as you give, but let it not be too long. And also again, it cannot have any special characters and all. Okay. So I am creating a memory variable by name val1, val1. Okay. And the val1 picks up the value from the specific row. So as you do for the first time, since the first row here is the first cell or the first row here is it is A2, the value in A2 is being assigned to val1. Now at any point of time, if you type, say for example, let me start let me start showing what value is there here. Let me type in order to in order to show that particular value which is available over here, I need to keep pressing F8. Let me start doing it now. F8, it goes again. If we press F8, it goes to next line, then again it goes to next line, then again it goes to next line, then goes. Now you can see when I say for each row dot rows, you can see the entire this thing being grayed. The range is being gray colored. Okay, it goes up to like that 1000 rows. This range is colored. Okay, after this, what I'm seeing is a row dot select. It has to select each row. So it is row dot select. Okay, when I do this, you see what change happens. Now the only A2 is selected. Okay. Now you can see the val1. When I go to this val1, you can see empty because as of now, we are still in that place. The value has not been assigned to val1. When I press F8 again and again go to the, if you see val1, automatically you can see val1 is equal to inverted comma Sri Vivekananda Institute of Science. Okay, I picked up this, taken up this data from a public website. Okay, so now the val1 has obtained the value which is there in A2. Now again what I'm telling, after this, the behind the name of this particular institute, I want to add comma. Okay, so in order to add comma, what I'm saying, I'm just modifying, or in other words, you can say in the IT parlance, we can call it as um, what, as manipulation of data. Okay, so val1, the value val1, that is the value which is already there in val1 is being manipulated, and we are adding this comma. Okay, to add the comma, because we use the ampersand symbol, and then within inverted double quoted inverted commas, we we give that comma because I'm adding comma here to each of the values here. Okay, so that will be done. Okay, I'll show you after it is done. Okay, once I do that, let me show it here. Okay, now that is added now, but still it is not being displayed. Okay, that will be displayed. So now it is there in the variable which is there within the system. It is still not presented here in the Excel sheet. It is still kept in the system memory. Okay, now when I press F8, the value of cell A2, which is 3 something something, it will be followed by the comma also. Let me show you now. So okay, when I do that, you can see now, let me show you. You can see the comma here, okay, in cell A2. Okay. Now after that being done, what happens now? If I press F again, now it takes us to the next row. Okay. And when I press F8 now, it goes to the row dot select. In fact, this for each row and next row is called a kind of looping technique in programming parlance. Okay. So within, as long as the cell which is selected falls from A2 to A1000, then this particular activities, set of activities is being um, a set of activities is being carried out. Now again, if you press like that, okay, next row. Let me go to now again show you here the, again you can see comma at the end of A3. Okay, you can do like that. So now if you can see A4 also, you can see comma here. Now that is being done. Okay. Once that is done, now that's working as the way in which we have expected the VBA to perform. So now we're confident that it does the way in which we needed it. So once, now it has to be done for each of the rows until it goes to A1000. So in order to do that, you just press F5. If you press F5, you can see the rows running behind. You can see the rows running, moving fast. Okay, finish. Okay, that is done. If you look here, you can see now all the rows up to 1000 rows, comma has already come in. Okay, so it is not done. So now the, after the comma, so what, let me repeat again. First, the value in the specific row, I mean the cell, is stored to a memory variable called val1, and then that value is modified by adding comma, and that val1, now it is being placed where, in the specific one. From the cell we pick it and put it the memory variable. In the memory variable, do the modification or manipulation, and then place the value again in the specific cell from where we picked up the data. So in the which that pick, the place where we picked up the data is called active cell. Okay, and there we put the val1. Okay, now if you see val1, there will not be anything. Okay, that's already been done, it's completed. Fine. This is how. So once that is done, once all the 1000 up to cell A1000 is completed, they automatically the program, the control is given out. It's free. That's all. Okay. So you may also save the file now after this, and this is how you need to do. And this is just an example. You can do many kinds of things. You can add some values, you know, or you can add some, it up, when you really apply it, you will get a lot of ideas, and many ways you would find this particular this adding of